Welcome to my channel Life with Priya, where I share with you some fascinating, intriguing and somewhat thought-provoking things from my simple life, from all the multiple realms of lifestyle, innovation, fashion and entertainment. Friends, we have been talking about the topic of dogs a lot nowadays, and I have my own views about this. But first, let me take you back to the references of dogs in Indian mythology. So as all of you know, Devdatta Patnaik in his article Dogs of the Gods has mentioned the dog named Sarama, who belonged to Lord Indra, and the reference is in Rigveda, and it is said that all the dogs have descended from Sarama. The second reference that all of us know is about Kal Bhairav having a dog as his mount. And the third reference, of course, as all of us know, is a very touching reference to the fact that when Yudhishthir ascended to the heavens, he had a dog accompanying him and he was not willing to abandon this dog. I mean, how wonderful are these references? Now, my particular take on the topic of dogs is that ideally one should not look at having dogs at home as something that you are doing out of an obligation that they have to you. So if you have a pet at home, yes, he or she is different from your family. They are not your real children. They are like your real children. So I really do not believe in this thinking that, oh, if you have a dog, it's good for you, or if you have a dog, it's good for your children, they will learn the value of kindness. My take on this is, do not use dogs to teach somebody something. Do not use dog to prove a point. Do not call yourself a dog lover just because you have 5-6 dogs at home. Do not call yourself a dog lover just because you're feeding. A dog is one creation of God, just the way a human being or a cat or a lizard or even an elephant is. And if you cannot be kind to a dog, at least don't be cruel. That's the way I look at it. Simple, plain and simple. Friends, this episode today is going to be really different. And I'm not saying this just because it's about dogs. No, it's about an experience that we were not prepared for, that was completely unexpected, and yet in many ways, and I'm really saying this from my heart, it changed us. It changed the way we look at everything. So friends, today's episode is about 6 wonderful puppies that a beautiful dog called Rani gave birth to right here in our own compound. Let's hope it sounds interesting to you. Hobbs! Hobbs, ye ikde! Hobbs! Hobbs! This story starts around 13th-14th March 2022. My daughter Apurva was coming back from a stationery shop on Ferguson Road, and a white dog followed her home. And being fond of dogs, we thought that the dog looked thirsty, hungry, and therefore on a small deck which we have outside the building, we just gave her some water and something to eat. Surprisingly, the dog did not go away. It stayed there, sat there, and nobody disturbed it. The next day, the dog was still there. We kept giving it water and food without bringing it inside the house because we already had a dog of our own at that time. 2-3 days later, the dog was still there. We had no idea why the dog has taken such a fancy to our compound and why we realized it's a she, why she is not leaving the compound. And surprisingly, we had never seen this dog ever before. So I called up a few friends of mine who work in this category of sterilization of dogs and generally keeping a watch on new dogs that happen to be in your territory. And I called them up and I said, I've seen this dog and she doesn't seem to be sterilized. So do you think she should be picked up and neutered and then brought back here? So nobody had seen this dog, which probably meant that somebody had just dumped her here. About a week after this incident, I discovered, or I thought, that this dog seems to be expecting. And I called up a very good friend, Ekta Bakhle, who does a lot of work in this area, and I sent her photos of this dog. And Ekta said, yes, definitely she is expecting and she can have puppies anytime. Now this really scared us because the thought of a dog giving puppies in our compound was not only alarming, but it was scary because we didn't know how to deal with it. Our house and our building is on the main road and we had no idea whether we should not allow this dog to be in our compound or we should keep her, take her somewhere else. But we said we'll see when it comes to that. Barely a few days after this incident, I still remember, it was the night of 23rd March 2022 and I had just come home from a late dinner with a good friend. And I still remember that night. It was a night like any March night, quite pleasant, warm. I opened the gate and I brought my car inside. And the minute I came in, I saw something shining at me and it looked like a pair of eyes. And yes, it was Rani standing there. But the way she looked at me was a bit different. And I started wondering, why is she standing in a corner of the compound next to the car where there's a compound wall and there's gravel? Why is she cowering there instead of sitting on the deck? And when I brought the car inside, that's when I saw some movement and I realized with an utter shock that Rani had given birth to puppies in the night. I parked my car, I got out. I did not go near Rani because I knew that she would be hostile to anybody approaching her. I stood there, I used my torch, which is always there in the car, and I shone the torch at her. And friends, can you imagine my amazement at what I saw? I saw that there were tiny puppies all around her and she was standing above them, and I had no idea how many they were. So I tried to look at it, and in my estimate, they were at least 7 to 8. There was nothing that I could do at night, and it was best that I leave her alone. So I went, didn't sleep very well, and came down early the next morning. What do I see in the morning was quite distressing. Many of the puppies were asleep. Obviously, they had drunk their share of milk. And out of those puppies, 4 were not moving at all. They were still, and I had no idea of knowing whether they are still even alive. A few hours later, my daughter Apurva came down, and both of us stood a good 10 feet away from Rani, thinking as to what our next step should be. That is when Ekta again came to our rescue. We called her, we sent her photographs, and what she said was very important. She said it is very immediate and urgent that we shift the puppies to a safe and a comfortable place. So what does dear Ekta do? Ekta came home the same day bringing a comfortable bed, circular, around 6 to 7 inches high and soft bottom, and she brought that. Now we were extremely anxious whether Rani would allow us to shift her puppies one by one. Would she attack us? Would she bark? Would she growl? And should we wait for her to get up to shift those puppies? Luckily, she got up. She did not say a word, and my daughter Apurva and Ekta shifted all those puppies one by one to this bed in a comfortable and safe part of the compound, which was protected from the main gate, had a cover, there was no rain, and safe from the heat. Now friends, I want to tell you something which may seem gross to you, but I realized it's the way nature takes care of her creations. The 4 puppies that died, do you have any idea what happened to them? And this is real, and we have witnessed this happening. These 4 puppies were taken by Rani to the backyard in the bushes, and she actually ate them like a biscuit. I know it sounds gross and it sounds extremely disturbing, and when I asked even Ekta about it, the answer that I got is that a new mother who has to feed 5 to 6 to 7 pups needs all the nutrition that she can get, and therefore it's extremely natural for her to eat even the poo and pee of these newborn babies. And to see her crunching her own pup in the bushes was extremely disturbing for us. But friends, that is the way Mother Nature works. What happened next happened very fast, and I'll tell you a little bit, and the rest will come through videos and photos that luckily we took at the time. So the bed is ready. It's a comfortable bed. There is water and food kept for Rani to feed on because she has to feed these pups. The little pups look exactly like mice. Exactly like mice. They still have not opened their eyes yet. They do not have fur on them, and they are doing this in that bed and sticking to her, snuggling to her, drinking milk all the time, and Rani is with them continuously. To witness this happening, to see it happen in front of our eyes, though I think I am a writer, there is no way in which I can truly describe this scene to you. There is no way in which I can write this. And you know, when this happens, do you have any idea of what must be going through our minds? The last thing that went through our minds was that we are taking care of this. No, that is the last thing. It has nothing to do about me or we are taking care of this. No. The only underlying sentiment that happens is that this has happened. It has happened to us. We are a catalyst. We are responsible for these pups making it through life. So this is the way in which it progressed for almost, I think, 2 weeks. They were feeding on the mother's milk. Now, what happens after around, I think, 16 to 20 days, I may be wrong, is that the pups open their eyes and they start squealing. Not only do they open their eyes and not only do they start squealing and they are awake, but they actually start bothering their mother. They don't let the mother go anywhere. Even if the mother gets up, they will pester her for more milk. And friends, be prepared for what happens next. These puppies start walking. They start clambering out of the bed and they start going everywhere. Can you imagine the scene of 6 different colored pups are walking out of the bed and going all around. Part 2. The pups are all over. They are going into our backyard. They are going in the front part of the compound. They are wandering everywhere. One day I get a crisis call from my husband, who has seen these pups fall into a small ditch where our water tank is. So what do? We go there and my daughter Apurva bends into that ditch and I'm holding her by the feet and we pull them up or lift them up one by one. On one occasion they tried to escape in the front part of the yard. So we had fences erected. Now these pups are more than 1.5 months old. Their appetite has increased. They can no longer depend on their mama for milk. So we have to feed them. So what do? 5 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock. We get food from the house down and they start fighting amongst themselves for that food. So we have to give them food in batches of 2 by actually holding them. And friends, the sight of those little puppies drinking that milk and eating the chapati and then actually burping, can you imagine? And then going to sleep. Of course, they were still on mother's milk, so Rani would frequently come and do her duty, but she had moments and she had phases where she would just disappear, and my daughter always used to joke that Rani is not really being a great mother by disappearing somewhere and then coming back. Jokes apart, friends, so the puppies grew up very fast. On day 1 they were this tiny, and on day 35, 40 they were this much. Bundles of joy, very naughty, and then we gave them names also. So the names were obviously based on the way they look. So there was Coco, there was Nestle, there was Snowdrop, there was Sprinkles, there was one which we named I think Chocolate or something like that. So anyway, we gave them names, and then when they were 2 months old, we realized it's time that they get adopted, because it's just not possible to have them moving all around in the compound, because they will develop a mob mentality, they will become territorial, and then they will not allow anybody to enter, and it will be a big menace. So my daughter Apurva prepared cute posters using Canva, and we sent them out to multiple people. And by the grace of God, lot of people came and they would check it out. Some would actually not like the dog which was not white in color, which was thin and not adorable looking. And friends, unfortunately, even when it comes to adopting a tiny indie dog, what people would look at first is whether it's good looking, whether it's a girl or a boy, whether it really looks cute enough, which I think is quite natural. One cannot blame them, and this is the way life is. Luckily, soon enough, in about 15 days, all the pups were adopted. They went to good homes, and one pup remained. Nobody would take her. I have no idea why. So we thought of bringing her home and taking care of her for some time before somebody adopts her, because we just couldn't stand the thought of this puppy, who was once with 5 of her siblings and with her mother, being alone on the ground floor. And friends, this pup today is whom we call Chingy. Part 3. Friends, this is where I come to this point of people being quite justified when they say that if you're feeding a stray dog, you must be responsible for that stray dog. So in a way, I would definitely agree with all those who are saying that if you're feeding a stray dog, it's not enough for you to feed that stray dog. What happens when you go back? And what if that stray dog attacks somebody? Are you going to be responsible for that dog's actions? So coming to part 3, with all humility, I would say that we did not stop at that. We called up our dear angel Ekta again and asked her whether it is possible to get Rani neutered, or whether there is some doctor where we can take her and get her spayed. And Rani, being the wonderful person that she is, allowed us to pick her up, put her in our car. We took her to where the government brings a van to take all the dogs, and they took her, they got her spayed. We picked her up again from there and we brought her back here. Much of the credit for this, friends, definitely goes to young Ekta Bakhle, and I call her an angel because that is what she actually is. She has helped us on numerous occasions. We knew nothing about what to do, what food to give those puppies, how to take care of them, what to do in case something happens, and she's the one who advised us right from day one, not just over the phone, but actually by coming here and taking a look at the scene and the scenario. So Ekta guided us even on how to get Rani spayed, and we got Rani spayed. She came back and she is completely free. She moves wherever she wants to. And now I come to the concluding part 4. We were all set to go for a function, all ready in our finery, and somebody whom we recognized as Rani comes dashing into the compound through the open gates. And it was literally so many months since we had not seen her. In fact, we were wondering, where is she? Where must she be? Must she be staying somewhere else? Can we see her again? And this was Rani coming in and looking at us and dashing into the other part of the compound and sitting there thirsty. So we gave her water, we petted her, we talked to her. And friends, since that day, Rani keeps coming home, not all the time, when she wants to. Point I'm trying to make is absolutely not about how we took care of that or how those puppies were in our compound. No, it's not about us, it's not about that at all. What I want to say here is that for what we call a stray dog, their sense of possessing a sense of freedom, of being at peace with themselves, is not only important for them but for all of us. So somebody like Rani, she eats, somebody feeds her, she goes and sleeps, she keeps coming here. I'll show you a photo to prove this. She keeps coming here, she comes inside the compound, again goes back, and she's not a menace to anybody. I just want to end this video by thanking Almighty God that He gave us a chance to be parents to these 6 bundles of joy. I only know that Chingy is with us. I really do not know how the other 5 are, whether they are doing well, whether they are with somebody or I have no idea. But every day in my heart, whenever I see Chingy and when I see Rani being in our compound, maybe for a few moments, I thank God and I pray to God to let all those stray dogs, wherever they are, be happy. Friends, I hope you enjoyed this video. Do share this just as an example of how some things happen to us, they are thrust upon you, and if you take them in the right spirit, it can be an experience which is extremely heartwarming and extremely memorable. My thought for the day for all of you: every time an animal, especially a dog, enters your life, it has not happened by accident. It has not happened just because that dog came in front of you. It has been destined by God because you have been chosen to be with that dog for 5 minutes, 1 minute, 2 minutes, or a lifetime.